A natural monopoly occurs when it's best that one firm supplies the entire market. The reason being is there's a high fixed cost. So what we find then, if we look at the average total cost curve, is that it starts really high and then it requires a large quantity of production in order to bring the unit cost down so that you and I can afford it. And so example would be companies like utilities. However, if they're left unregulated, they will have a temptation to act like a monopoly and to end up charging a price that is too high for society. So let's take a look at how exactly can we regulate that monopoly. Again, we've got our average total cost curve, our variable curve, our marginal cost curve, put in our demand equals to price and our marginal revenue. Now left unregulated, the firm is going to look to maximize profits by producing a price where marginal revenue equals marginal costs. In this case, it's going to be 26,000. We draw our line up to the demand curve / price curve, and it tells us that the firm will charge a price of $7.40 if we're left unregulated. Now, in this case, the firm has maximized profits. We've got revenue equal to the area in green. We identify our costs from the average total cost curve, which is here. Costs are at that point down, and we find that there's profits. Now, in terms of regulation, there's two that we're interested in looking at. The first one is average cost pricing. We determine average cost pricing by looking at the average total cost curve, the ATC, and find the point where it intersects the demand curve or the price curve. And that is what price is set to. So this means that we'll be producing a quantity a little less than 44,000 and charging a price of $3.30. Now this is a good point because revenue equals the costs, and therefore there's no economic profit. There is one other form of regulation, and this is marginal cost pricing. In this case, we look to the marginal cost of producing the product, and we find the point where it intersects the demand / price curve. And what we see here now is we produce a higher quantity. This is closer to 46,000, and we charge a lower price of $2.50. Now the challenge though is that our revenue now is less than our costs, because to find our costs, we go up to the average total cost curve, and we see that the costs are greater than the revenue, which means that we are earning an economic loss. Now, there's some cases when we'd use marginal cost pricing, other places where we'd use average cost pricing. Let us take a closer look at each situation. So unregulated, what we find is price is too high and there's profits. So this is bad for consumers, and it's far from being efficient. So productive efficiency, remember that's producing at the minimum the ATC, that's this point right here. So we are a long ways away from that one. With allocative efficiency, producing where price equals marginal cost, which is this point here, and again, the quantity then would be 46,000, we're producing at 26,000, we're not allocative efficient. So unregulated, right, price is far too high and there's profits, and it's a long ways away from being efficient. Let's take a look at average cost pricing. So price is lower and there's no profits. It's much more efficient than the unregulated monopoly. Right? So our productive efficient point is this point here. So we're pretty close to it. Not quite, but definitely getting close. For the allocative efficient point is production of 46,000. We're a little less than 44,000. So again, we're getting closer, not quite there. If we look at marginal cost pricing, right, price is even lower. It does achieve allocative efficiency because now price equals marginal cost. It's not productive efficient, however, again, it's even getting closer than the average cost pricing. When we would use marginal cost pricing is when the benefit to society is so big that it's worth using this, and what's required though is that there has to be a subsidy because of the economic loss. This is something like post-secondary education. Right? You do provide a tuition to the college. However, the balance to make up the cost is subsidized by the government. Another example would be public transportation. When you jump on a bus, you're paying $2.50. That doesn't pay the whole cost of the bus, and so the rest of it comes in a form of a subsidy from government. And so things like education and public transportation, we will use marginal cost pricing. as it helps us to achieve allocative efficiency when the benefit to society is that important. Other natural monopolies like BC Hydro or Terrason Gas or water services are going to use average cost pricing, where firms are charged a price where they do not earn an economic profit. However, they're still earning an accounting profit.